Season 1 of Squid Game introduces a down-on-his-luck chauffeur named Song Gi-hun, who is divorced, estranged from his daughter, deeply in debt to some dangerous loan sharks, and resorting to stealing money from his own mother to fuel his gambling addiction. At one of the lowest points in his life, Gi-hun is approached by a stranger who challenges him to a simple game of dokji for money. Piquing Gi-hun's interest, the man offers to win a lot more money by playing games with much higher stakes. Desperate, Gi-hun agrees, leading him to being drugged and waking up in a massive living space with 455 other people. This large group of strangers all wear green tracksuits and are identified by their own unique number, with Gi-hun being labeled player 456. Gi-hun and his fellow players, they're all trapped in an unknown location, protected by masked guards in pink jumpsuits, and will be competing in a series of 6 games over the course of 6 days for the chance of winning several billion won. As the players prepare for their first game, Gi-hun discovers that his childhood friend Cho Sang-woo is a fellow player dubbed 218 who is also participating in the games. The pair befriend the elderly player 1, Oh Il-nam, and they all agree to assist each other through the upcoming games. Gi-hun also recognizes player 60 Kang Se-byuk, who recently pickpocketed the last money he had to his name. The players are then led to their first of 6 games, overseen by the mysterious and masked front man. The game is a simple red light green light, where the rules are to run from one end of the playing field to the other before time runs out, starting whenever a giant mechanical doll says green light, and stopping whenever the doll says red light. This game proves deadly when the first player to break the rules is shot dead. This alarms all of the other players, leading many to panic and flee, resulting in an all-out massacre that ends in over half of the contestants dead. The horrified Gi-hun and his allies survive the first game, fully aware of the deadly stakes in store for them. With each player's death, more money is added to the overall prize pot. The contestants hold a majority vote to end the games, and the guards release everyone back to their homes, with no one receiving any money. Gi-hun attempts to alert the police of his experience, but no one believes his outlandish claims. No one, that is, except for Detective Hwang Jun-ho, whose brother previously went missing after receiving a similar game invite. Despite the horrific dangers of the game, Gi-hun and most of the other players realize that winning the massive grand prize is the only solution to their life problems and willingly choose to re-enter the game. Sang-woo is on the verge of arrest for committing financial fraud, the elderly Il-nam wishes to die bravely instead of due to his deteriorating health, and Se-byuk wants to help get her family out of North Korea. Detective Jun-ho secretly infiltrates the games by posing as a guard and discovers the competition is being played on a remote island. While observing the guards behind the scenes, he discovers they are harvesting the organs of deceased players and selling them on the black market. Jun-ho also discovers that these deadly games have been played for over 30 years. That despite his continued disappearance, Jun-ho's brother In-ho was actually a previous winner. As foreign VIPs arrive on the island to place wagers on the games, Jun-ho secretly attacks one of them and records a confession of all of the deadly and illegal activities occurring on the island. As Jun-ho flees with the evidence, he is caught by the front man, who removes his mask to reveal that he is in fact In-ho. In-ho attempts to recruit his brother to help oversee the games, but the shocked and betrayed Jun-ho refuses, leading In-ho to shoot, knocking him off the edge of a cliff and into the ocean. Back in the games and better prepared for the dangers ahead, Gi-hun, Sang-woo, and Il-nam align with Se-byuk and player 199 Ali, a Pakistani immigrant who has faced immense prejudice in his normal life. The second game requires every player to pick between a circle, star, triangle, umbrella, and after making their selection are forced to cut out their chosen shape from a fragile cookie. Unfortunately, Gi-hun accidentally chose for himself the umbrella, by far the most difficult shape. Despite this, Gi-hun successfully completes the task, alongside all of his allies. Following the second game, the antagonistic player 101 Deok-soo killed the player after accusing him of eating more than his allotted food rations. The guards do nothing to intervene, with the only result being more money added to the final prize pot. And so, Deok-soo realizes that he can simply kill the other contestants to make his position in the games easier. He forms an alliance of like-minded players, including player 212 Min-yo, and they stage a riot. Gi-hun and his newfound friends manage to survive the deadly night and make it to game 3. The third game is Tug of War, forcing players to form teams of 10 to face off against each other. Deok-soo betrays his loyal ally Minyo by abandoning her to instead form a team exclusively of stronger men. Minyo joins a team with Gi-hoon and his allies, and despite having a seemingly weaker team, the elderly Il-nam helps his allies win their matchup by implementing the best strategy. Game 4 begins with players being forced to choose a partner. Gi-hoon pairs up with Il-nam while Sang-woo pairs up with Ali. Unfortunately, players are all then handed a bag full of marbles and told that to win the game, they must somehow have all of their partner's marbles in their possession by the end of a timer. Whoever loses dies. Gi-hoon and his allies are all devastated that they are now forced to compete against each other. While Se-byeok is traumatized over having to essentially sentence someone to death to win the game, Sang-woo coldly tricks his friend Ali into giving him his marbles. Meanwhile, Gi-hoon takes advantage of Il-nam's dementia to trick him and win his marbles. As the time runs out and Gi-hoon is declared the winner, Il-nam confesses Gi-hoon to win, as they are Ganbu, trusted friends. And so, Gi-hoon leaves the game distraught over his actions and the death of Il-nam. Going into the 5th game, only 16 players remain, including Gi-hoon, Sang-woo, Se-byeok, Deok-soo, and Minyo. The next game is Glass Stepping Stones, where contestants must cross a bridge made of glass panels, some of which can support their weight, and others which will shatter and cause the player to plummet to their death. The players are randomly given the order for which they must cross the bridge, and after seeing countless players in front of him fall to their deaths, Deok-soo refuses to advance, ordering players to pass him and risk their lives to reveal the correct path, or they will all die when time runs out. Still bitter over being abandoned by Deok-soo, Minyo chooses to sacrifice herself to grab onto Deok-soo and cause them both to fall to their deaths. With time running out and the contestants not yet across the bridge, Sang-woo coldly sacrifices the player in front of him to reveal the incorrect path, allowing him to safely complete the bridge alongside the only other survivors of the game, his allies Gi-hoon and Se-byeok. Gi-hoon now realizes that his childhood friend Sang-woo is willing to do anything to survive, even if it means turning on his own allies. Unfortunately, this knowledge can't help him prevent Sang-woo from murdering Se-byeok, leaving him and Gi-hoon as the final 2 players. The titular schoolyard classic Squid Game, which Gi-hoon and Sang-woo played together as children. Ultimately, Gi-hoon defeats Sang-woo, but doesn't want his friend to die, and instead begs for them both to forfeit the money and leave together alive and well. But Sang-woo refuses this offer, sacrificing himself to allow Gi-hoon to win the money. Gi-hoon returns home to find that in his absence, his mother has died. 1 year later, Gi-hoon is a wealthy man, but heavily traumatized by all he has gone through, leading him to refuse spending any of his winnings. Gi-hoon is then invited to meet with Il-nam, shockingly having survived the games, though now on his deathbed. As Il-nam reveals that he is in fact the game's original creator, founded to entertain bored wealthy people like himself, he also offers Gi-hoon a new wager based on human decency. Will a single passerby help a drunken stranger before the stroke of midnight? Gi-hoon accepts the wager and is relieved to see the drunk being offered assistance. As Il-nam witnesses his loss, he succumbs to his illness and dies. His faith in humanity now restored, Gi-hoon rescues Se-byeok's orphan brother and places him in the care of Sang-woo's mother, giving them both portions of his winnings to live securely with. As Gi-hoon prepares to finally visit his estranged daughter in the hopes of reconciliation, he witnesses a stranger being recruited to play the next iteration of Squid Game. Gi-hoon then abandons his plans to his daughter and instead chooses to infiltrate the new game and stop the vicious cycle of violence.